Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
Remember when people were saying part of the reason the Cavs had this spectacular record wasn't because this was a spectacular basketball team that deserves to be talked about seriously, and I think also deserves to be talked about. My bad, I'm having a hard time speaking right now. Deserves to be talked about outside the context of could they beat Boston or not, right? Like too much of the Cavs conversation about the Cavs is revolved around this ideal of can they beat Boston, and not enough of it revolves around just what this Cavs team does great. So that has always been something that bugged me, but the strength of schedule thing was always something that I thought was kind of silly because the strength of schedule wasn't ever really that bad. But you look at this stretch that the Cavs have had since before the All-Star break to now. I can't count how many wins they have in a row, but they're about to hit another double-digit win streak soon if they continue on this path. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're at 7 wins in a row again. And we're at the point where we don't even count the 5-game win streaks, the 7-game win streaks. Anything under 10 doesn't really get counted for this Cavs team because they've had 2 double-digit win streaks so far this year. But what the Cavs have been able to do, beating teams that are playoff contenders, right? They beat the Memphis Grizzlies, a 2 seed, the New York Knicks, a 3 seed. In the East, the Timberwolves, I believe they're 4 or 5 seed out there in the West, at least outside the play-in, I believe. They've beaten some really good teams, especially really good teams out in the West in this stretch. And it goes to show you, like, it's not just the Cavs look good against teams that might not be a threat to them in the playoffs, and we know this. And we talk about it. When the Cavs beat somebody like Brooklyn, we're not jumping up for joy anymore about that. But, when they do this to contending teams, I think people tend to ignore the amount of evidence that's here that the Cavs are a team that should be taken serious and should be viewed in that context instead of the conversation about can they be a threat to Boston. I hate that every conversation about the Cavs ends up revolving around that conversation. What the Cavs did in this game versus the Memphis Grizzlies, I think was very impressive. Not in the same way that beating the New York Knicks was impressive. We didn't beat the Memphis Grizzlies by a margin of Tristan Thompson minutes like we did against the New York Knicks, where we beat them by 8 Tristan Thompson minutes. Tristan didn't play in this game. This was a close game all the way to the end, and the Cavs were able to win it. They won this game. What was the score of this game? They won this game 129-123. And if you just look at the overall score, it doesn't really tell the story. No Darius Garland in this basketball game for the Cavs. And the Cavs had a horrific three-point shooting night and a bad foul shooting night. They also didn't get the benefit of the whistle, in my opinion. Like, I'm not usually complaining about the refs guy, but this game felt a bit out of balance with the calls that the refs were giving. You could tell it really frustrated the Cavs here. So you have a night where you're not getting the benefit of the whistle at home for whatever reason. You're shooting under 70% from free throws. Your best player, Donovan Mitchell, is 4 of 8 from the foul line, so he's shooting 50%. Evan Mobley, not Evan Mobley, but Jarrett Allen, because of that hand injury, wasn't very useful from the foul line either. Your three-point shooting was atrocious. This is a basketball team that usually sits in the 40s, and three-point percentage was sitting at 27.7 today. And the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that usually is around 37% from three, they were at 38.5, so they were a little bit better than average tonight from three. So they're getting a better shooting night. Both teams are pretty healthy. The Cavs are actually down a starter, and they're not shooting well. And they were able to win this game. And they controlled the game for almost all 4 quarters. Like they controlled the game for all 4 quarters. And I think that's impressive. When you're not shooting well, when you're not making you're doing stuff wrong, and you're still able to beat the 2 seed in the West with not ease, right? It wasn't easy, but it was relatively easy given how good the Memphis Grizzlies are and how hard they should be to beat, right? Like, you should not be able, like, this is a night where I look at the box score, I'm like, okay, well, the Cavs lost to the Grizzlies by 15 points, but that's not a big deal, right? Like, that's what you expect to happen on a night where you're sub 30 from three, sub 70 from the foul line, sub 50 from the floor. Like, it just, you expect that you're not going to have a great chance to beat a team like this, but they were still able to get it done. And I think that kind of stuff's important because people ask this question all the time. What happens to the Cavs if the three-point shot stops falling? Can they beat some of the best teams in the NBA when that happens? Well, this is their response. And the response is yes, we are more than capable of putting up a bunch of points, even if our three-point shots aren't dropping. So if that was a concern of yours, and I'm not saying this one game should give you the peace of mind if that concerns you, right? I think it's the body of work that should, because the Cavs have been able to shoot bad from three and compete with some elite teams. I mean, every game against Boston, they've shot bad from three almost. And they've been able to compete with every, like, either close wins or close losses with those teams, even in those moments. So that is why I felt like this was very impressive. Another thing that I feel like people need to remember is that Donovan Mitchell is still very capable of carrying this basketball team if he needs to. He hasn't had to carry the load. He hasn't had to be called on to bail the team out, right? I know, and I'm going to do a video on this. Shaq was talking about on Inside the NBA, if Donovan's not playing well, then the Cavs can be beat. And I just don't agree with that analysis, that it being that simple of a formula to beat the Cavs, because plenty of times the Cavs have had Donovan Mitchell not playing well versus an elite team. They've been able to beat them. So, no, I don't think that Donovan Mitchell playing well or not playing well, as good as he is the life or death of this team anymore. But that's not because Donovan Mitchell has gotten worse. It's because this team has gotten much better around Donovan Mitchell, and they're not completely reliant on him. Now, in this game, in the first quarter of this game, they were relying on Donovan. We got to see Donovan do what he used to do when the team was relying on him, which is ball, dominate the game. Because we have that. But we also got, even in a night where Darius Garland is out, Donovan got 30. Evan had a ridiculous night, 25. We'll talk about Evan's night in just a second. And Ty Jerome had another ridiculous night, 26. That's three players who can get 20 plus, and you're missing one of the other guys who can get you 20 plus. Like, the Cavs have legit four players on this roster when they're healthy who can explode and get them 13, 14 points in a quarter. That means something, right? That means something. And that means that you're not, like, Donovan Mitchell is not the life or death of this team, but hey, he's still that level of player that if he needs to, he can put the ball on the ground and get buckets for you and get this thing started by himself. Let's talk about Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley made a great argument tonight for winning Defensive Player of the Year against the other contender, Jaren Jackson Jr. I thought he did a good job against him. 1 of 5 from 3 for Jaren, 9 of 18. A lot of what Jaren did was at the end of this game too. So I thought Evan did a great job on him. And just look at the night that Evan had. We used to stop the earth. Like, if this happened with Evan Mobley, think about this. This is how much he's progressed. If Evan had 25, 13 and 8 last year, we're stopping everything and talking about nothing but Evan Mobley. We're like, oh my goodness, is the leap here? Is this a peek into the future with Evan Mobley? Evan Mobley had 25, 13 and 8. And like, it was a deal. People noticed it. People definitely are talking about it. But like, this ain't new. This ain't the first time he's done it this season. It's not the second. It's not the third. It's not the fourth. It's not the fifth. Evan's done this a lot against good teams. Now we need him to do it against Kristaps Porzingis just to shut that whole narrative up. But this is something that Evan can do. And he's not even close to being fully developed yet. But this is a part of what I remember getting excited about them 20-point Evan Mobley games. They happen so much. Sometimes Evan has scored 20. I forget to talk about him in the post game. That is how good Evan has been this year. Jarrett also, I love how Jarrett has played, especially since the whole meme thing. Look, I think I really want Jarrett in the playoffs to have a moment like he did in this game where he like dunks on somebody and just like physically dominates in front of everyone, so people can just get off his damn back about that Madison Square Garden quote. Like, I still see people in the comments, oh, the Cavs are still soft. Don't be fooled by the 47-10 record. They're still soft as Charmin and all that dumb shit that people be commenting down there thinking they're smarter than everybody else. And I'm like, are you not watching this team? Jarrett Allen out there playing with a hurt hand, smacking that ball into the hoop. Like, this is a tough team. This was a tough game to win. The Grizzlies were doing all kind of just annoying Memphis Grizzlies stuff, right? We saw Zach Edey just push DeAndre Hunter for no reason. All this stuff with the ball. Desmond Bane doing that they was doing that annoying Memphis Grizzlies stuff in this game. And I love how the Cavs responded to it. They didn't back down if they felt a physical challenge being presented to them, right? It was a little bit of a squabble, a little bit of a dust-up. I don't mind that. Y'all know I've never minded that. I like that shit. And, it didn't go too far. Nobody got swung on. Nobody got hurt. But, it was letting people know, hey, not going to happen. You're not about to do me like that, right? When Jarrett Allen goes back and gets a receipt, I like that. Okay, cool. That's basketball to me. Go get your foul back, right? The perception on Jarrett Allen is 3 years old at this point. And for whatever reason, it continues to stick on him more than anything. But he's one of the key players on this team. He goes out there every night, whether he's hurt or not, plays very hard, and gets you the consistent double-double that he gets you. Anybody who has disrespect for Jarrett Allen, they don't have my respect. Straight up. Like, if anybody who disrespects Jarrett Allen, I don't respect you. It's gotten to that point. So if you out here feeling froggy about disrespecting Jarrett, just know, I think you're lame. All right. Kenny Atkinson is also somebody I want to talk about this one. Kenny, and I think in one of my last videos reacting to the Knicks win, I talked about Kenny being this Wizard of Oz type figure for the Cavs and the Zen master. He has this Zen master quality. And this is the small stuff that I think really does matter because Kenny gets it. And what Kenny gets, because he's coming off this All-Star break and he's been talking about consistently, we got to treat every game like it's the playoffs. We got to treat every game like it's the playoffs. We got to have intensity on every, and you see it when you watch the Cavs. They're intense. One, it's a smart move because you want them to be used to that intensity, right? We've seen this Cavs team, this core specifically, be shocked by that intensity when they're faced with it, right? Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks a couple of years ago, they shocked this Cavs team with that intensity. Now, I think they responded to intensity pretty well in that Orlando Magic series. Everybody acts like didn't happen and went to a game 7 that the Cavs won. People act like that never happened. But also I think what Kenny's doing here helps that, right? He wants to get this team in playoff mode. He wants to raise their intensity. Because I think what Kenny also understands is the pressure that's going to be on this team, whether they realize it or not. And it'd be hard for them to really fully grasp it right now. Because what they're doing is close to historic. Cavs are 47-10. Every day, somebody who has not been following the NBA a ton goes on Google, looks at the standings, and goes, damn, Cavs got how many wins? They've only lost how many times? Is LeBron back? And the more you win in the regular season, the higher the expectations go up and the more pressure mounts on you. The Cavs are going to have more pressure on them in the playoffs to get to the Eastern Conference Finals than any team in the NBA outside of maybe Oklahoma City because they're on a similar place with record-wise, right? If Oklahoma City gets eliminated in the second round, everybody's going to have fraud takes about them. Everybody's going to have something to say about that, right? If the Cavs get eliminated in the second round, everybody's going to have something to say about that, right? A team like Boston, who everybody's crowned the champion and the king of the East already prematurely, if they get eliminated in the second round, people are going to be like, well, they're not really going to care that much. I promise you that. because Boston's already won the championship. All their players have played long enough to where they don't really got much else to prove. Like, people ain't going to trip on that as much as they would trip if the Cavs don't make it to the Eastern Conference. Right. He understands this. And I think that's why he wants them to go out there and get used to that intensity, because that pressure is going to be real once the playoffs hit. And there's really no way to prepare for it, but it's going to be real. Like, it's like climbing a ladder. It's really impressive how high you get on the ladder, but if you look down, it's like, damn, if I fall, it's going to hurt. That's where the Cavs are, right? We keep winning these games. We climbing. We're not even looking down and realizing, oh, if we lose in the first and second round, that's going to be really embarrassing, right? Because that's the pressure that mounts on you from winning all these regular season games. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Win as much as possible, but that's the pressure going to be on your back. The Warriors still get crap for losing that one finals. And look, it's the finals that we beat them in, so I have no problem with them getting crap on it. But they still get crap for winning that one finals. And why? They were up 3-1, and they had won 73 games that year. When you climb that high, the pressure to fall off that ladder, it's immense. It can make anybody crumble. So he wants them to get used to that pressure. He wants them to get used to that intensity, because I think he understands that that's a challenge that they're going to have to deal with, right? And there's no way to prepare for it. Like, they're just going to have to deal with it when it comes. But that's one of the reasons I feel so much more confident about going into one of those things with Kenny, is because he does stuff like this that makes me feel like, okay, he understands. He definitely understands it. Ty Jerome in this game, I'm excited to watch. Like, speaking of playoff stuff, I'm excited to see Ty Jerome in the playoffs, because this dude just has the knack for making big shots or coming up big when you need him. Like, he has that, I don't know what it's called, right? But he has that gene where if you need randomly a guy to get 10 points in a playoff game in a quarter, like Ty Jerome's right. Like Bobby Portis had this gene, right, where it's like Bobby Portis coming in with a random ass 14-point quarter to keep Milwaukee alive in Game 5, or it was Boobie Gibson did this once, but he didn't really have the gene there. I think J.R. Smith at times did this, where it was like, oh, random hot third quarter for J.R. Smith, keep the Cavs in it. Like, he has that quality about him that you love in a role player, that every single championship team has, right? Like, you look back at every championship team in recent memory, they have that dude off the bench that can give them that. Like, you're just not getting a great night from your stars, and then all of a sudden Ty Jerome comes out there, closes the fourth quarter, and everybody's like, what the hell? But nobody's surprised on the Cavs side. That is, I think, what Ty Jerome's destiny is for the Cleveland Cavaliers, is to be that guy for them. Because whenever they need something the most, and they're not getting it from Darius or Donovan or Evan, here come Ty Jerome with the bank three and one, right? Like, here comes Ty Jerome making 12 floaters in a quarter. Like, that is, I think, the destiny for Ty Jerome. Another thing I think is going to be important to playoffs is this Evan Mobley, Dean Wade, DeAndre Hunter lineup. I don't know how often they're going to be able to go to it in the playoffs, right? Because I don't know how many minutes you're going to want to give Dean Wade, given that he's not much of a threat offensively. And in the playoffs, teams going to be flagrant about how little of a threat they feel like he is offensively. They're going to leave him open there for three, and it's going to be up to him to make it. And sometimes Dean makes those. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he don't even pull them, which drives me the most crazy about Dean. But that lineup defensively just has so much potential, because when it was out there, they were just straight up using that length advantage to dominate the Memphis Grizzlies for about a half a quarter there. So I think they have to figure out a way to use that lineup in the playoffs. The question is, like, is it going to be a 9-minute lineup, or is it going to be something that they can go to for 20 minutes, right? All in all, I thought this was a very impressive win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about this win down in the comment section below. But the Cavs are one win away from matching their win total last year. And if that doesn't convince you that this team is in fact different than the team last year, that it is February 23rd, and we're talking about if they beat the Magic on Tuesday, they going to tie the win total that they had all last season. If that is not enough to convince you that this team is in fact different from the team last year, well, I hate to inform you, but you might be behaving. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.